So I want to talk about how I think Donald Trump is going to try to rig the midterm elections. Now, I think that he's going to try many different things, and we're already seeing some of those. Like, for example, what he's doing in trying to further gerrymander states like Texas and Florida and other states that he's trying to get to go along with redistricting, so that they can try to squeeze a few more Republican seats in the House of Representatives out of those states. So he's doing things like that. I don't think it's going to be one single thing that he's going to do to try to rig the election. I think it's going to be a combination. But I think that what he did yesterday in his federal takeover of Washington, D.C., and sending National Guard troops into that city, supposedly, for crime, which we all know is bullshit. That whole thing is about, with Donald Trump, as is usually the case, it doesn't have anything to do with what he says it's about. It's always about something else. The timing has everything to do with distracting from Jeffrey Epstein. That's absolutely true. But actually putting troops in Washington, D.C., they were going to do that anyway, I believe, for various reasons. One is to condition the American people to accept the military being deployed against American citizens in our towns and our cities across the country. I think that's what it's about. And he's doing that for several reasons, and one of them is to rig the midterm elections. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I hear a lot of people, and I've really, since he won the election, I've been hearing people tell me that he's going to cancel elections. He's not going to cancel elections. He can't. And I know that whenever you say, well, Trump can't do something, people's immediate response is, well, he's not supposed to be able to do this, but he's doing that. He's not supposed to be able to do this, but he's doing that. Well, that's true. But in those instances where he is doing something that is not legal or constitutional, yet he's doing it anyway, those are things that are within his power to do, not his legal power or his constitutional power, but these are things being done by the executive branch of the federal government, which he controls. So when he gives somebody or some agency or whatever an order in his executive branch, they do it or they get fired. So he has the power, not the legal authority, but the power to order people to do these things. And so they're doing things so he's doing things that he doesn't have the legal or constitutional authority to do, but he has the practical power to be able to do it. Not so with elections. He has no control over elections because elections aren't run by the federal government. There is not a single election anywhere in the country that is run by the federal government. Every single election in this country is run by state and local officials, none of whom work for Donald Trump. He can't fire a single damn one of them. He can't do a thing. He doesn't control them. He can't cancel elections. It's not within his power. There's not a single person he can order to cancel elections that he has the power to order to do anything. Now, I suppose if he wanted to order that elections be canceled, there are plenty of lapdog cultists in red states who would just do whatever he tells them to, not because they have to, but because he's their cult leader and they do whatever he wants them to. But unless you cancel all elections across the country, just canceling elections in Texas, for example, that's not going to do him any good. He's not going to cancel elections is the point. He just simply can't. It's an impossibility. Beyond that, dictators don't cancel elections. Authoritarian thugs don't cancel elections. They love elections. They just rig them. is what they do. They don't cancel them, they rig them. But they like to have rigged elections because it gives the appearance of popular support for the thug dictator. I mean, Putin has elections, right? And then he cites his elections. Oh, look, 96% of Russians voted for me. You know, Saddam Hussein had elections. You know, so authoritarian dictators have elections. They just rig them, which is what Donald Trump is trying to do. He's doing it with the gerrymandering, but here's how he's going to do it with the military. And conditioning the American people, as he is doing, having done it in Los Angeles, you know, the National Guard, he even sent some Marines. Now, they didn't actually do anything. Most of them just, you know, took naps on concrete slabs. They weren't really doing anything. It was all for show, right? But it was also to lay the foundation for doing this again in the future. And that's what Washington, D.C. is about. Whoever he deploys, National Guard, whoever, they're not actually going to do anything. They're there in a support role for the Metro PD, right? It's the PD that's going to do everything. You're just going to have a bunch of National Guard troops there wasting their time, you know, following Metro PD around. They're not actually going to do anything. They're not supposed to do anything. It's for the show. And it is to condition the American people to accept that this is normal. Now, this is the new normal. Trump being able to deploy the military to the streets of our towns and cities is the new normal. That's what he wants to put in place. He wants to condition the American people to accept it as normal. For many reasons that he can use these, you know, the military against American citizens in the future. And one way is to rig the election. And here's how he would do it. There are many ways to rig an election, but one of the ways, in a very effective way, is to suppress your opponent's turnout. You don't actually have to get more, you don't actually have to have more voters than the other side. You just need to get your voters to the polls and try to prevent the other side's voters from getting to the polls. And the disadvantage that Democrats find themselves in is that their voters are concentrated to a large degree in urban areas. I mean, you've seen the maps, right, that these Trump cultists love to post on social media. It'll show the United States by county, and the map is almost entirely red, and there's little pockets of blue where all the cities are, right? And they'll point to this and say, see, this country is overwhelmingly Republican. No, you friggin' half-wits. There's not anyone even living in most of the red area. Let me interject here for a minute. I have an announcement to make. I have finally done it. I have started a new YouTube channel. It is for longer videos, and it is called the Romano Report Podcast. I know it's terribly creative, right? But that's the name, the Romano Report Podcast. In fact, it's already up, and I have already posted the first episode, which I have linked in the video description below. So if you're interested, it's going to be just like this channel, only the videos are going to be longer and more in depth. But this channel, the one you're watching right now, is not going anywhere. It is going to remain exactly the same. This new channel is for longer videos. I'm hoping that there is enough interest in keeping that channel going. It's going to be a lot of extra work. You know, it is what it is. There's a lot of extra work, but I am more than happy to do it if the interest is there. So please head over, check out the Romano Report Podcast, watch the first video episode, and please subscribe to the channel. Let's get those numbers up so that I know that you want to keep watching. Anyway, that's it for now. Please check out the Romano Report Podcast, and here's the rest of the video. A lot of the Democratic vote is in urban areas, concentrated. And so it is much easier to suppress the vote of people if they are all concentrated in a small, relatively speaking, geographic area. And I think Oh, are you fucking kidding me? My friggin' chair is collapsing on me. What the hell? I know I gotta lose a few pounds, but this is ridiculous. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Sorry. So, what I think he's going to do with the military is, in the run-up to Election Day, he can simply declare some kind of an emergency in some of the blue states, or the blue urban areas around the country, Philadelphia, Atlanta, really all of them, Chicago, Los Angeles, whatever. He can just say there's some sort of an emergency, a crime emergency or whatever, and deploy in big numbers the National Guard and other members of the military. Not for whatever purpose he says he's sending them, but to make people afraid to come to the polls. That's why he would do it. He might even say that because the crime is so bad in Philadelphia, or pick your city, that he is sending the military into that city or those cities to make it safe for people to come out and vote on Election Day. But he will have the exact opposite intent in mind. He will be doing it to make people afraid of coming to the polls on Election Day, especially groups who have, with good reason, historically and especially recently, come to fear law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement. If the streets, if the city of Chicago or Philadelphia or any of them are loaded with members of the military who are controlled by Donald Trump outside of your polling station, that is going to dissuade some people from going through with voting. They're not going to take the chance. Am I going to be arrested if I show up to vote? Am I going to be hounded? Am I going to be harassed? I mean, we see right now American citizens being arrested. They say by mistake after they let them go. None of these people should be arrested by mistake. That's not a valid legal thing, arresting people by mistake. You better make damn sure before you arrest them. But we're seeing even American citizens being swept up in Trump's immigration raids. So just being an American citizen shouldn't fill you with any sort of confidence when you go to vote. If there are members of the military and federal law enforcement all over your town or city, some people are not going to vote. That's just what's going to happen. And I think that is the way, one of the ways in which Donald Trump will try to rig the midterm elections. Because I think he's understanding that he cannot win the midterm elections. Republicans are going to lose big in the midterm elections unless Trump and Republicans do something big to try to rig the outcome. So they're trying everything they can, and I think this is one of the things they're going to try. And by starting with Washington, D.C., which is a federal district, so there are very few legal impediments to Trump doing what he's doing right now. Not to make an excuse for it or condone it in any way. This is awful. There's no reason for him to be doing it. But it's not a state. There's no governor. There's no state legislature. It is a federal district. It is easy for him to take control of Washington, D.C. because it's a federal district. But the American people don't really see any difference. They're not going to appreciate the legal and constitutional distinction between Donald Trump doing this in Washington, D.C. and him doing it in Chicago. They'll just see, oh, well, Trump, he's not trying to impose martial law. He's not doing anything bad. He's just trying to reduce crime. He did it in Washington, and he didn't take away anyone's rights. Why? Maybe it's a good idea if he does it in Chicago. You're going to get people, even non-Trump cultist people, who are going to have that reaction. And so if he deploys National Guard and maybe other members of the military to Washington, D.C., especially if nothing bad comes of it. And I don't think anything bad's going to come of it because it's in his best interest to not have anything bad come of it right now. It's going to be much like it was in LA. He did it. People were up in arms, but nothing really happened. And then they quietly left. It's probably going to be the same thing here. But the important thing will have been accomplished. And that is to condition the American people to accept this. So that when he does it, in the lead up to the election in the midterms at 18 months from now, when he says, I need to make these cities safe so that Americans can come out and vote. So I'm going to put federal law enforcement and the National Guard and Marines or whoever else in those cities to make it safe for people to come to vote. That's what he'll say. And you'll have a lot of Americans in this country who won't see anything wrong with it. Oh, he just wants to make everybody be able to vote. He wants to make it safe for everyone to vote. And he's not going to do anything bad. Look what happened in LA and Washington. He put the military on the streets and nothing bad happened. All we did is reduce crime. So yeah, that's maybe a good thing. But a lot of people will see that and say, I'm not coming out to vote if Trump's thugs are on the street. And that's how he's going to rig the election. So there are many things at work here with what he's doing in Washington, D.C., but I think importantly, that's one of them. Rigging the election. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Guess time will tell. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.